Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Just Another Autism Podcast. I'm Eileen Lamb, and today I am joined by actor and autism dad, John Wells. John and I met on the set of Autism Fit. Autism Fit is Autism Speaks' new fitness series by autistic people for autistic people. It's with Eva Erickson from Survivor and Tanner Smith from Love on the Spectrum. It's amazing. The goal is to make fitness available for everyone. And John was a big part of that project. But more than that, John is an actor, and he has a movie coming out called Learning You, where he plays the dad of a child who has severe autism. And he's going to tell us all about it in just a minute. So welcome, John. Pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so very much for having me on. It's great to talk to you again.
Always a pleasure. So, John, why don't we start by having you intro yourself to our audience?
Well, I'm a professional actor, and of course, I'm also a father to a 10-year-old autistic son.
Yes, you are. And you have an exciting movie coming out called Learning You. And from what I've seen on social media with all the teasers, it looks to be really amazing. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Learning You?
Learning You, it's an independent film from First Capital Films, and it's a father-son road trip movie about a father trying to reconnect with his autistic son. It's a sort of a heartwarming family drama.
Who do you play in the movie?
I play the father. So this is obviously a very, very personal film for me. The material is very, very close to my heart. It speaks a lot of parallels to my own life. So it's a very, very personal, intimate sort of experience. A lot of real truth to kind of pull from.
So, as someone who's an actor, but obviously you're first and foremost, you're a dad, you're a parent. How did becoming a parent to a child on the spectrum change the way you see the world?
Radically, in so many ways. Obviously, it's very eye-opening. I think that the concept of autism for someone who is neurotypical, unless you've really been around it and experienced it, it's such a hard thing to grasp. It really is almost an abstract kind of concept. Trying to understand how someone can actually perceive things so differently and communicate so differently and understand things so differently. So it really forced me to take a step back and rethink parenting altogether. I mean, I have a 16-year-old daughter who had already been raising how I felt very successfully, and I sort of had to completely reassess parenting. Every step of it, in every regard, everything that I had done with my daughter, I had to relearn and approach from completely different directions, and so much trial and error, and so much just searching in the dark, stumbling over everything, and making lots of mistakes, and still making mistakes, but doing the best I can.
Do you think that when you were filming Learning You, your own life, like being a dad of a child on the spectrum and everything you've learned, like did that play a part in the way you were acting? Because I mean, when you're acting, you're supposed to follow a script, right? But when it's something that's so personal to you, I mean, I can't imagine it's easy to separate personal life, personal experience, and the role you're playing, right?
Undoubtedly. I mean, when I first read the script, I mean, I was stunned by how honest it was, as a portrayal of being a parent to someone on this level of the spectrum. The son in the script very closely resembled my own son. There are a lot of similarities in their behaviors and mannerisms, and even some of the speech patterns. It's really, I mean, it was shocking So yeah, I mean, I usually I play very different type to myself. I play a lot of really like dark, broody action roles and stuff, and this really was so similar. I mean, he is just a dad, just struggling with his son, and while the character is very different from myself in a lot of ways, he makes a lot of decisions that I wouldn't have made, and he approaches things from a really different viewpoint. There's a lot of undeniable parallels. So there's a lot of my own truth and even my son's own truth kind of interwoven throughout this thing. So yeah, it's certainly not my own story. It's not my son's story, but it is. I do think it's a pretty honest story.
Were there moments on set that felt especially like close to home?
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of the meltdowns.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know that.
the- yeah, yeah, very, very intense, and the frustration that is felt when trying to figure out how to control it, and trying to get your hands on that chaos and keep it from getting out of control is as a parent is a scary and frustrating and sometimes infuriating thing. But yeah, there's a lot of that in this movie, and yeah, I mean, there are times watching the movie now where there are moments where I can say that's a little bit of me, really kind of shining through the role, and that's kind of the neat thing about this film. Tyler, the director, I've worked with a bunch of times, and he's a good friend. And when he was given the script to consider directing it, he told me I was the first person, other than his producing partners, I was the first person he called and said, if we do this, I think this has to be you, which meant a lot to me. And then I read the script, and I was like, oh, this is why. um, so yeah, it's very, very intimately personal, even though not a mirror of myself, but definitely those parallels are certainly there.
Right, it's still fiction, but hit close
Yeah.
to home. But did you ever feel like more pressure to get it right than when you're playing, I don't know, like a vampire and like all the other movies you've been
Oh,
in?
absolutely. This was a very nerve-wracking experience because we really wanted to get it right. And I mean, you're under so much scrutiny when you do something like this, because people take this very seriously, and for good reason. And everyone has their own opinions of how autism should be portrayed in
Mhm.
film, and how it should be talked about, and how it should be handled. And you're not going to please everyone. It's impossible, especially on something on this type of subject matter, because as you know, every autism story is so radically different, and every experience with autism is just extremely different. So of course we're going to get that, but I did want to honor the autistic community, and I wanted to make sure that it was treated with dignity, and I feel we accomplished that.
That's good. I can't wait to see it. When is it gonna be in the theaters?
January 16th, it's going to select theaters in the United States and Mexico, and then in a couple weeks it'll open to about 25 theaters in the UK as well.
Oh, I didn't know you made it to the UK. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Um, yeah, going back to representation, I mean, I feel like with many things, I have a very balanced, nuanced take on things. And, I think representation is very important. And if you can hire an autistic actor, I mean, it's great, but it's not always possible, especially considering sometimes you're going to be wanting to have a child or adult with autism that has so many like challenges and struggles, and you can't cast that person, right? By definition it wouldn't work. So yeah, I think it's always tricky. I mean, what's your take on representation in movies? Like, do you think we've
It's
got it?
such a difficult thing. And they did. There is an autistic actor in the movie who plays another autistic character, but the main role of my son, they had hoped to cast an autistic actor, and they held nationwide auditions. And honestly, they didn't really get hardly any auditions submitted from any autistic actors, so they really didn't have much to choose from. But they did find a wonderfully talented young man who once he submitted a great audition, and not autistic, but he did, once upon landing the role, he dove all in, and he volunteered with several different autism programs around his community, and he worked one-on-one with a lot of autistic kids, a lot of autistic adults, and learned as much as he could. And he treated it with so much respect and took it so seriously, and was so just bent and bound on doing it right and servicing it correctly. And I really applaud him. I mean, he really, really cared and put his whole heart in. And it's a very brave role. It's really not an easy role for a guy to jump in and to play this level of profound autism. It's a bold thing, and it's a courageous thing, and it opens you up to a lot of scrutiny. It opens you up to a lot of harsh judgment and criticism. And he just went all in, and really applaud the guy.
Yes.
Caleb is his name. He's a really talented guy.
No, I think that's amazing. Again, he might not be autistic, but sounds like he really took it, like you said, with a lot of care, and very respectful of the representation of the role he was playing. And
At the end of the day, it's we're actors. I'm all about representation, and the more honest an experience an actor can have with the real material is great. But it's all performance art, and we you're not always going to get an exactly this person to play exactly that person. That almost defeats the point of acting and performance.
yeah, it's a good point. Right. What's been one of the hardest moments for you as a parent in your real life, not in the movie, as John, the dad?
I could go on about meltdowns, and the meltdowns in public, and the judgment of other parents and other people in public. I could go on about that, but really, I think the thing that hits me the hardest, that hurts me the most, that I hate the most, is when I see my son feeling lonely, and when he mentions that he doesn't have many friends, and or has a hard time finding friends. That to me is the hardest. That's what wounds me the most, and it's also the area where I think I feel the most helpless.
Right. Can't really force friendships. So it's difficult when you can't fix it as a parent. I mean, it's kind of like as parents, that's what we do. We try and make things better for our kids, and sometimes we just can't.
Yeah, ultimately, all we really want is just for our kids to be healthy and happy. And when you see them sad about something that you just can't go fix, yeah, that's tough.
Well, on the flip side, is there anything about autism that maybe surprised you in a positive way?
He surprises me. I mean, just about every day. Some of the radical things that come out of his mouth. He's so incredibly creative. The way his mind works, and the way he can look at a situation, and his thought process is just so flipped around from where my mind approaches it. It's really eye opening and interesting. He's always so interesting in just the way he does things. But it's just it. I think it's made me a far more patient person, a far more open minded person. Just being around him, it's forced me to be a better person. I really firmly believe that.
If there's one thing you would want other parents who are like early in their autism journey, maybe their child has just been diagnosed, what would you want them to hear or to know, because it can be so lonely and scary after a diagnosis.
It is. Oh gosh. So many things. First and foremost, you're not alone. It feels like you're alone, but you're not. There's such a huge community out there full of people who are experiencing, and of course, every experience is different. But we all, many of us have walked similar paths. You've got to find a tribe. You got to find people to talk to. It's so helpful just to be able to vent with someone who kind of at least somewhat gets it. Uh, so you're not at all alone, and just give yourself some grace and some patience and some forgiveness, because you're gonna mess up a lot. I messed up a lot. I continue to mess up. I will continue to mess up. And it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. None of us are. There's no such thing as a perfect parent, and there's especially no such thing as a perfect parent to special needs. We're all going to mess up, we just do the best we can with what we have. So allow yourself some grace and be patient with your child. That's that's one of the big things I had to really learn. That's one of the places where I messed up a lot, was just being learning to be the calm in his storm. He would have these wild and sometimes vicious, meltdowns. And the quicker you learn that this is not a behavioral issue, the better. This is a neurological storm that is not controllable. And as frustrated as you are in the situation, my boy was on fire. And so I'm worried about trying to control. And I needed to stop and think about what he was experiencing, not what I was experiencing, and be something calm that he can latch onto. And that's, once I learned that was the saving grace. I figured that's what prevents it. That's what solves it when it does occur, to just provide a place of calm and a place of peace for him. And then once that's implemented, everything else would kind of sort itself out.
That is very good advice, and it's also really hard to put into action.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the truth.
I mean, as a mom, it's like, of course, I want to be patient, but like sometimes when your child is like destroying like everything in the house, and you just like, well, yeah, you want them to feel better, but you're also a human being, and
Mhm.
then it goes back to your previous point, like you got to be patient with yourself too. I think that's such great advice. There is so much judgment on social media and in real life, and sometimes it makes it harder to be kind to yourself. Like you start to second guess yourself. And yeah, I wish someone had told me when my child was diagnosed, my children were diagnosed, you're gonna hear a lot of negative things on the internet and around you, but you got to trust yourself. And yeah, it's okay to mess up. I think that is amazing advice, and I've never gotten that answer to this question, and I've asked it to a lot of people, and I'm like, you know what, yeah, I think that would be my number one advice too. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And so you were involved with our Autism Fit series, which, if you don't know, our listeners, it's a fitness series created by autistic adults for autistic adults and children, because honestly, I mean, it's important for kids to get moving too. The earlier the better.
Yes.
And it's a great series. It was with Eva Erickson from Survivor and Tanner Smith from Love on the Spectrum. And John was behind the scenes, watching the exercises. And yeah, I mean, I feel like you enjoyed being part of the project, but tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm so thrilled to have played even a small part in it. I think it's such a great program, and I think it's a lot of fun to watch. And I'm just super proud of it. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Did you watch some of the videos, the
Oh,
final
of course,
product?
of course. I think it turned out fantastic. I really do. I think it's a great thing.
It turned out so good. Yeah, I was excited. So yeah, people like go exercise with Tanner and Eva. Eva, sorry if you're listening.
And what
Uh,
great hosts! They both have such wonderful
yeah.
energy.
And it's so important for the community to get moving. The gap, the life expectancy gap, which is a really scary stat, is 17 years between autistic people and neurotypical people. And, obviously exercising every day is not going to fully fix that gap, but hey, it helps. So, we're trying to bridge that gap, and that's one of the reasons we created Autism Fit. And finally, John, I have one more question for you. What do you have in store for the future? Any big project, autism related or not?
Well, I mean, most of my life is autism related these days, but yeah, well, we have the Learning You, of course, coming to theater this month. That's wild. Wow. Yeah, January 16th comes to theaters. That's a big thing. But also, we are currently in pre-production on a dark medieval fantasy fairy tale called The Seer and the Sword that we move into production on February 2nd. We start shooting that, and that's going to be a big undertaking. So really excited about that one.
That's more of your original style, the vampire, the fighting, all of that.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, the dark broody type stuff. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Back to basics. Well, John, it's been a pleasure talking to you as always. So thank you for coming on the podcast, and wishing you the best for your projects.
Thank you so much, and back at you.